We're taking a look now at the Eastern Conference. Last year, won by the Boston Bruins easily with President's Trophy, 135 points. We will go ahead and break down the Metro first. Last year, it was Columbus, Philly, Capitals, Penguins, Islanders, Rangers, Devils, Hurricanes, in that order from bottom to top. So with that in mind, here we go once again. I think it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward who I think is going to be bottom of the table. I got to find their logo, and it is the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think that it's going to be a down year for them. Obviously, Fantilli coming in, going to be interesting. The whole debacle with Babcock and all of that, just drama, I think will weigh on this team, but I think the weight is off their shoulders. You got Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine going to be buzzing on all cylinders this upcoming year, but I still don't think they're in a good spot with how their defense is structured. I know they've got Werenski on the back end, but other than that, I'm not going to name any other players of no note, I should say. And then their goaltending, super big question mark. They don't have depth up front. And it's going to be a long year for the Blue Jackets. They will finish around, I'd say, anywhere from 58 to 65 points and be down there at the bottom of the division. Moving forward, again, another pretty dumpster fire team as of late, the Philadelphia Flyers. I think it'll be a long year for them as well. Let me just pull them up really quickly. I didn't even pull up the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I've got the presence of mind to pull up the Flyers just to show you guys. Again, Couturier, superstar type caliber. I wouldn't say superstar, elite defensive forward. I'll put it at that. I saved myself there. Cam Atkinson, Konechny, Farabee, Scott Laughton, and then it sort of just drops off the table after that. On the back end, you've got, who do you got? Who is your top go-to guy? I think one of the more interesting people for this upcoming season to watch, Owen Tippett. I think he will be fun to watch. I think Cam York will be fun to watch this year. Sanheim, I think, is their best technical defenseman. And then between the pipes, you've got Peterson and Carter Hart. Does Carter Hart get moved this year? Who knows? But the Flyers, they're not going to be really fun to watch. John Tortorella's killing them in preseason already, essentially, and it's just not going to be a fun year overall for the Philadelphia Flyers. Moving on to the next team in the division, I think it will be a down year for them, even though they have a pretty solid roster. I think the New York Islanders are going to be down this year. Why do I say that? I just have that hunch about me that I think it'll be a down year for them. When you look at their roster, it's like, well, why do you think that? They've got Barzal, they've got Horvat, Lee, Brock Nelson, Pajot, Palmieri. Their depth is very good. There's salt and pepper, run you through the boards, defensive style hockey. The back end, Pollock, Pelich, Dobson, Mayfield, Romanoff, Aho. And then between the pipes, you've got Sorokin and Varlamov, the Russian tandem. Something just tells me they're just not going to click this year. And I think other teams in the division will be better than them. That's really the only reason I'm saying that. By all means, they could probably go out and get second or third in the division, and I wouldn't be shocked. But there's something about it that tells me the Islanders are going to have a down year, whether it's they're hit by the injury bug, they just don't click on all cylinders whatsoever, trouble in paradise with Barzal, Horvat, their top goal scorers not being able to put the puck in the back of the net. Maybe Sorokin gets hurt. Again, fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but it's just something tells me they're going to have a down year. Moving on now, next pick for the division, and this is where, again, it's a hot take, because I think the Capitals will finish a little bit higher than the Islanders. I think they had the injury bug last year. I don't see that being the case for them this year. I don't think it's going to be good enough for the playoffs. You've got Backstrom back, finally healthy. Kuznetsov, stay healthy and stay happy in DC. I know there have been rumblings that he wants to move on. Oshie will be back. Wilson signed that new deal. Dylan Strome had a very strong year last year. Sonny Milano signing a deal, staying there. And then back end, Carlson had that crazy injury around the holidays last year. Hopefully he comes back strong. You've got Jensen. Kemper, I think, is going to have a bounce-back year. And then, obviously, Ovechkin chasing the goal hunt. I think with that, it'll be a little bit better than they were last year. They finished 80 points. I think this year they'll be close to 90. But that is where I have the Capitals finishing in fourth. gosh, this next pick, again, might be a hot take, but I'm taking the Rangers in 4th. I think they do get into the playoffs, and they'll be a wild card team. But again, similar to the Islanders, there's something about it as I pull up their roster that I don't think it's going to click. Again, you've got your crazy good depth. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Trocheck, Hedl, Goudreau, Lafreniere, Kakko, Blake Wheeler, bringing him in, Nick Bonino, VC, Pitlick, and then Belizzi, however you say that last name. Back end, Fox, Trouba, Miller, Lindgren, Schneider, Gustafsson, Jones, and McKay. And then you've got Shesterkin, Jonathan Quick between the pipes. That alone, that just, you say their roster, you're like, oh wow, this team is a playoff team. They'll make playoffs, I think so, but I don't think it'll be as clean of a regular season as they have had in past years. I think the expectations are still high, especially with the moves that they made this offseason. And I don't see them having a clean regular season. I do think, however, they will be an extremely tough out in the playoffs, and they might make a deep run. But I don't see it clicking on all cylinders for the Rangers during the regular season. That's just by no means saying that they won't win the cup or make a deep run in the playoffs. I just think it'll be a tough regular season for them. Still doing good on time. We will definitely run a little bit over, but getting to my next team, they made a huge, probably the biggest move this offseason, which I think will pay dividends for them, getting Erik Karlsson in, and that is the Pittsburgh Penguins. They will be my 3rd team in the Metro, and where they finish, it's the whole, they are getting close to their window officially closing for good. Can they do it? Can they do it essentially one more time with the core that they have? Malkin, Crosby, and Letang, they just brought in Karlsson. They have better depth than they've had, I'd say, the past 2-3 seasons when it comes to their forwards. Again, Gensel, they have him on the roster right now, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the IR for now. You've got Rust, Raquel, Riley Smith, bringing him over from the Vegas Golden Knights, which I think is huge. Lars Eller, Noel Acciari, Rem Pitlick, Drew O'Connor, Matt Nieto, Alexander Nylander. Who knows if he's actually going to make the roster? I know they have a few PTO players. On the back end, you've got Karlsson, Letang, Graves, Peterson. You've got Joseph, Ruedel, Ty Smith, not the best back ends, and then they're really going to be relying on Tristan Jarry. If he can stay healthy and the Penguins are firing on all cylinders, and Karlsson, let's say, has like 80 to 95 points, and Letang has 60 to 65, and let's say Jarry's up around that 40 win mark, look out for the Penguins. I think they could be a potential tough out in the playoffs. I think injuries will be the thing that will drag the Penguins down. With their age, it is definitely more prone to happen. And you can say that about any team, but I think the Penguins, this could be a year that they could sneak up in the playoffs. Let's say they get 3rd or even a wild card. They could sneak in the playoffs and do some damage with the experience that they have and the more depth, I think, up front with some salt and pepper in their lineup with the Noel Acciaris, the Matt Nietos of the world. I think it'll definitely help the Pittsburgh Penguins this upcoming season. Moving to second in this division, it's going to be a tough choice for me, but I think the top 2 are what they were last year. I think the Devils will be the second best team in the division. We'll pull them up really quickly just to show you guys their team. And I think it's going to be huge years. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier. I think Palat's going to have a big year. Tyler Toffoli, top goal scorer from Calgary last year. He comes over. Timo Meier is going to have a full year under his belt with the Devils. On the back end, Hamilton, Marino, I thought had a very solid year. Siegenthaler had a good year as well. Between the pipes, I think it might be their biggest question mark with Vanacek and Schmid. Can they have another year can they have another regular season like they did last year? I think it is definitely potentially there. Luke Hughes is going to be fun to watch him on a full year, but man, Jack Hughes, look out for this guy. He's going to put up probably 120 points this year. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 120, maybe realistically like 108. But if you put up 120, I would not be shocked whatsoever. Look out for the Devils. They are young and hungry. They got experience in the playoffs last year, winning the first round against crosstown rival Rangers. Look out for the Devils, but I think the team winning the division is the Carolina Hurricanes. They just have the pedigree to play solid regular season hockey. They play essentially playoff hockey during the regular season, and that is tough for any team to deal with. Yes, maybe they don't have any necessarily big superstars, but they're going to be a tough out. Sebastian Aho, you got Michael Bunting they brought in from Toronto. Svechnikov, I know he will be back soon. I don't know if he'll be ready for the regular season. Dmitry Orlov, they were able to get signed. They got Anderson. Ranta will probably be their main 2 goaltenders this upcoming season. But again, this team is super deep. The back end, Orlov, Slavin, Burns, Shea, Pesci, D'Angelo, like they're super duper stacked. Jordan Stahl leading the way up front. Martinook, Drury, Jarvis, Brendan Lemieux they brought over. Stephen Nosen. Again, they're super deep. They just play a good style of hockey that leads well to doing well in the regular season. And I think they will win the division once again. When it comes to the playoffs, that's a whole nother story. I don't know if they'll be able to get it done, but that's my breakdown on the Metro. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. But that's it for that one, and we will go ahead and move on to the next division.